What's up, my friends? Welcome to a new episode of Unskripted. Today, I'm going to be discussing something that's been on my mind lately, which I feel like I say that at the start of every video, but it's true. I always am sort of talking about whatever existential question has been weighing on me. But today, I'm talking about enjoying the process, the creative process, and the creative journey. And what does that mean? I mean, some people, a lot of people use the phrase trust the process, right? Which is its own mentality in a sense. Trust the process, trust that you're gonna end up where you want to be, trust that all your hard work will eventually pay off, trust that if you put in the hours, if you put in the time, if you put in the effort, if you are passionate, if you're driven, then you'll get to where you want to be. That's sort of the mentality of trust the process, but nowhere in that mantra does it say enjoy the process. Make the most of that journey. And in a sense, trust the process kind of implies, it's going to be bad now, but don't worry, it'll get better later. And, I'm not a big fan of that. I think that, we should enjoy every step of the journey, even when we're not exactly where we want to be. And this applies to, everything, not just filmmaking, not just writing. This applies to everything, but I want to look at it through the lens of the creative journey, because that's what I'm on right now, especially with filmmaking. Filmmaking is something that I didn't even think was going to be a passion of mine or a potential career or something I could monetize or something that I could make a living from, or something that I could would be a genuine vessel for my storytelling. I always thought growing up that, writing would be the only way I tell my stories, through books, and then eventually that evolved into through comics. But I really thought that my written word would be how I got my meaningful messages across, and ultimately how I would make my living. And I thought that making videos was just something fun and silly I did. And it just evolved over time, and I just grew to love it. Like I grew to realize, hey, this is something I can do long term, and something that I might actually be half decent at. And I wasn't always half decent. I wasn't always even like a 10th decent. I mean, I started out very much inexperienced, as I guess that's kind of a self-explanatory statement. Everybody who starts a new field is inexperienced, but at the time, I wasn't even considering, I'm entering the field of videography. I was like, no, I'm just throwing stuff together on my iPod Touch. Like, there was no thought behind it. And then it just kept evolving without me even realizing it. Like, I just kept sort of upgrading, my process. And the thing is, I was so unconscious of the fact I was evolving that I didn't, it wasn't a concern. I wasn't like, I gotta get the next best camera, I gotta get the next best mic, I gotta get, a stabilizer, I gotta evolve, my scripts need to become better. It just naturally did, because I was so passionate about it, and I loved doing it so much that, the natural next step was, okay, well, I love this so much, and I've been doing it for a while, how can I make it better? How can I make it more fun for me? How can I make it so that what I create is even cooler, from my perspective even. And because, for years I had no audience at all. The audience was me and my friends and my parents. So I just kind of want to take that same mentality of growth without the pressure, and put that into my current practice and encourage others to do the same, because it's really cool if you can grow without that constant pressure to, oh, you have to be better, you have to have the best technology, you have to be competing with other people who are doing the same thing you are or something similar. Like, why? Why not enjoy every step of the journey? Like, I am well aware right now that there are people far more, technically savvy than me when it comes to filmmaking, people that have far superior equipment, people that have years of experience in screenwriting, people that have a much more evolved professional process than myself. Like, that's absolutely a fact. But none of them are in my shoes. None of them are making the stories I'm making. None of them are living my life. And so, I shouldn't let them dictate how much I enjoy what I'm doing right now. And so, it's really interesting. It's really an interesting process. This whole evolution that I'm talking about, like, I oftentimes get caught up in what I can't do rather than what I can. At least nowadays I do. Like right now I'm looking into image or video stabilization, like gimbals and steady cams, and finding a way to get really cool motion, because I've sort of gotten, I feel like I've peaked at video quality. Like, I've gotten a lens that produces the best video quality that I want, that I can envision, honestly, and it's perfect for what I do anyways. It doesn't do everything, but it does what I need, and it looks the way I want it to look. But it's best for static shots. It's not very stable. It doesn't. I couldn't do really super cool moving shots with it, and when I do, it ends up being shaky. So now I'm very much, I'm looking into how can I stabilize my motion, how can I get those really cool moving shots. And so then, when you're in that mindset for too long, then I start to think like, man, all these movies are fine, but they'd be so much better if I could just have moving shots. They'd be so much better if there wasn't just so many static shots. Like, I really wish I could have more, smooth motion. And then I start looking at my work from that lens of what's missing rather than what do I have. And, that is one way to grow. I mean, if you're always looking for ways to improve, then you will inevitably improve, right? But that shouldn't be your only focus, because, I have to enjoy the fact that I have come this far. Like, the Keelan who was filming on an iPod Touch, the Keelan who, didn't even know what editing was, the Keelan who, never wrote down a word of his scripts and just made everything up on the spot, the Keelan who, spent $0 at all in this field and never bought a costume or a prop ever. Like, that Keelan would be stunned at what I'm doing now. Just seeing the video quality, seeing the depth and the time and the effort I put into my scripts, seeing the fact my acting has gotten better. I mean, that's debatable, but maybe. Seeing just the fact that it looks so much more professional, objectively, my past self would be really impressed by that, and I have to appreciate that journey. I have to appreciate that growth, and not always get so caught up in, this is missing something that other people have, right? Because I feel like that's the trap, and this is, I was saying how this applies to other things. That's the trap so many people fall into in life, is like, how can I get to the next best thing? Because the next best thing is sure to make me happy. Once I graduate high school, then I'll be free, I'll be happy. Oh, no. Now once I graduate college, I'll be so happy, I'll be set for life. Oh no, once I get that job, I just got to secure my job. Oof, no, now I just want to secure my dream job. I want to get that better job, and I'm working at the dream job, but I just want that promotion. And then it's like, when will you be happy? Like when you own the whole world? Like, and even then, now you want to own the whole universe. Like, there's just there's no cap to how much the human mind can want, because it always wants more. It always wants the next best thing. It's never happy with what it has now, and that's such a natural, instinctual thing. And you just have to cut that off at some point and learn to be happy with what you have in the moment. And like the example I just used of career growth, that there's also like romantically, like you won't be happy until you secure a romantic partner, and then you won't be happy until you're married, and then you're still insecure. You won't be happy until your anniversary. Like you have to learn to be happy with how far you've come. What's another way that applies? Emotionally or spiritually, like, oh my gosh, I won't be happy until I conquer my anxiety. I won't be happy until I've become enlightened. I won't be happy until I've found complete inner peace. And it's like, you might be, once you get to that point, that might be the happiest you've ever been. Sure, when you're completely spiritually enlightened, or when you've been married for 30 years, or when you own the company of your dreams. That might be the happiest you've ever been, maybe. But don't bet on that. Don't bet on that pinnacle being the only time that you are your happiest. You have to be happy in the in-between stages. You have to be happy even when you don't have everything. You have to be happy during the process. You have to enjoy the process. That's going back to the very first statement I made in this video. Enjoy the process. You have to learn to appreciate that growth and that journey, and that you're not always going to be at the peak of the mountain, and as soon as you do get to the peak of the mountain, there's going to be an even bigger mountain. Sorry, just cut off that truck, my bad, dude. There's always going to be an even bigger mountain to climb, and that's the thing. And then you sort of fall into this trap when you're looking at other people who are climbing those bigger mountains, right? That's where it really gets tricky. That's where you really feel vulnerable, is when you see man, there's this filmmaker on YouTube who he can get those shots that I can't get, or he has a higher budget than me. He has more actors than me, or like, she's had all this experience, and she can she has more technology, she's more capable. Like, you'll always find people better than you. Like, that's the simple way to put it. And I like to say that better is a completely subjective term. Like, there might, like, I think I could reach a place where my stories, just my sheer storytelling, maybe not the technical side of things, but the actual stories are, in my opinion, better than anything else out there. I might reach that place someday, but I doubt I'll ever reach a place where I believe no one in the world is as technically capable as me, because there's always going to be someone who has a bigger budget, and there's always going to be someone who's been doing it longer, and there's always going to be those people. But I guess another point to make is that that, like, there's people who are doing just fine, and they're not even trying to upgrade. Like, you don't always have to layer on more stuff. There's some people plenty of people actually, who still do their movies on their phones, right? Like, they just film on their phones. There's no shame in that. There's no shame in not having all this crazy gear. Like, honestly, I respect the heck out of that. Like, you're able to produce the stories you want to produce, and you're just focused on making it truly funny, or making it truly dramatic, or truly scary. Like, why does it have to be, why do you have to try to replicate what you see on TV or see in movies? Like, why not just make it what you want to make it, you know? Like, you know, we should be able to create however we want to create, you know? And whatever equipment we want to use, as expensive or as inexpensive, there's nothing wrong with that. And so, and I got to wrap this up. I'm picking up my girlfriend Camille because we got to go pick up a heat lamp for her lizard, because the dude needs some heat to stay alive, and his heat lamp broke, so that's unfortunate. But bottom line here is that you have to learn to enjoy the process. I have to learn that. We all have to learn that. You know, learn to make the most of the time that everything's not perfect. Because, you know, even on your deathbed, I hate to get this existential and this you know, deep, but even when you're on your deathbed and you've been working your whole life and you've been making stuff your whole life, you're still gonna see like there's still gonna be people who are doing things better, people who are doing things with more expensive equipment, people who have more technical stuff, people who have a more evolved aesthetic, people you know, who have skills that you don't have. And that's okay. That's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And you have to just embrace and love the journey. You know, and you have to decide when to evolve and when not to evolve, right? Or in which ways to evolve. I think it's cool to always be evolving. Some people just have their one thing, they stick to it, that's what they do, boom, done. You know, they can make the same kind of video for their whole life. They can write the same kind of short story for their whole life. They can publish these same, you know, same genre of books, you know, and use the same gimmicks and the same hooks forever. Do that. If you love it, then do it. If, you know, why change if you love it? But I may reach that point one day. Who knows? I'm not saying I won't. But at this point in time, I am very caught up in the thrill of learning what more I can do, what more skills can I master, because there's just so much, and you may never learn everything. I mean, there's people who are incredibly technically savvy with filmmaking equipment, but couldn't write a story to save their lives, and you know, that's cool too. That's what they do. So just enjoy the process. Don't get too caught up in what you don't have. Enjoy what you do have, and learn to evolve, but without that pressure. Be like young me. You know, just keep making stuff that you love, and naturally, if you really love it, you know, you'll just sort of evolve as you go, because you'll just think, I guess I could make this cooler in this way, and then it'll just sort of be a natural progression, and that's really cool. You know, when you can get in that zone. So I'm trying to get back in that zone now. All right, well, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Keelan Luke Morrissey with Unskripted. I forget what episode I'm on, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and stay tuned. I got a new movie dropping very soon. Depending on when I upload this, the movie may have already dropped, but it's called Where Do You Go to Watch the Sunset? It's a movie I'm very passionate about, 10-minute short film. Please check it out. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Peace and love to you.